All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Gerald Ortiz, coming off of the fallout from WrestleMania weekend. Still the best thing that happened to WrestleMania weekend for me, Big D, Joe Hendry's appearance.
That was great. That was a nice surprise. I know a lot of people were kind of pissed off about that and saying, "Oh,
I thought that was
they made
awesome.
John Hendry look." I said they didn't make John Hendry look weak. They actually Randy put him over pretty well.
Yeah,
Even
it was 3-minute match, but I thought Joe he got the best ovation. Best ovation of anybody on the whole night. The crowd was going nuts. Randy was vibing to the reaction.
Yeah.
He was happy. There's no shame in losing to Randy Orton.
Hell
Didn't John Cena get jobbed out by the Undertaker in what should have been his retirement match at WrestleMania and
pulled out from the crowd. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, come on, if John Cena can do it, and it's not a burial for the Undertaker, this wasn't exactly for Joe Hendry either.
He the best part of it. Yeah, but the best part of that though was Randy Orton doing his version of the Joe Hendry turn
of the turnaround. Yeah, like everything about it was fun. It was all the stuff that wrestling is supposed to be fun. That was my favorite part.
I liked it a lot. That was great. I really enjoyed that. But keeping on the topic of Randy Orton, we had Raw kickoff with John Cena. You know, of course, doing his talking about how he's going to take the title. It's going to reset the clock for everybody, and naturally outcome again. He's talking all his trash, and I shouldn't say naturally because I actually didn't see this coming. Personally, I was actually delightfully surprised. John Cena's telling them to pose for the camera so they can, take a picture of one last time of the last real champion. Randy Orton rolls out of the bottom of the ring and gets into the ring stealthily and hits John Cena with a wonderful RKO, a nice surprise RKO for a huge pop, implying that he is going after that title. We did get confirmation that is going to be the
they already made the match. It's set for Backlash.
Yeah.
It's made
in
which
2
is
weeks.
In 2 weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks. We've moved on from Cody Rhodes completely because Cody wasn't on SmackDown either. So he's MIA. We'll see when he reemerges. I'm guessing after Backlash, or maybe at Backlash. I don't know what will happen.
Maybe we'll see what happens with that. But I'm excited for this and it makes sense because Randy Orton is the legend killer, and John Cena hitting number 17 on his title reigns makes him a legend.
He's the legend.
So now he's in the sights of Randy Orton. So I'm excited to see. We'll talk more about what happened with that on SmackDown because there's a little more banter to that. Had an it was just an awkward night altogether for Raw and SmackDown. It was the night of awkwardness, but great opportunities and great moments. So we did have women's tag team titles change hands already the next night, apparently, from Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria dropping them to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, just so that they can be 4-time champs, I guess. But all this was done as a backdrop so that Becky can turn heel on Lyra, which implies that
immediately
Becky's going to go.
It was Team Heyman.
Yeah, world's fastest. Right? Yeah, world's fastest heel turn. So that was interesting. She might because of Seth Rollins, but we'll get into that later on. But that obviously implies that Backlash are more than likely going to see Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. That's probably why they did a quick heel turn because it's a 2-week turnaround for Backlash.
Yeah, but it still just feels forced. It feels rushed. And, that was my feeling. I thought that they weren't going to win at WrestleMania. And
I did too. I thought they were going to retain. Yeah.
So my thought was if you were just going to have them turn around and lose the rematch.
Why bother?
Turn the house back. Yeah, they shouldn't have done it. Don't do it.
Should have done the heel turn. Should have done the heel turn at Mania.
At WrestleMania. Yeah, that would have made more sense. She walks out and it's like, you haven't seen Becky in forever. And she does the match and they lose and she beats her up. And it's like, oh, she was a heel the whole time.
Oh, especially because you had her on the press conference with her daughter, like they're all happy-go-lucky, smiling, and now she's a heel. So interesting,
weird.
But oh well. But I'm excited to see that. I think obviously I'm pretty sure Becky's going to take the title off of Lyra.
Yeah,
that's just more than likely what's going to happen. After that, we had American Alpha and come out to call out. I already forgot who they were going to call out because it didn't really matter.
Alpha Academy was calling out the New Day, right?
Yeah. The New Day was out. You're right. I'm sorry. The New Day was out to talk trash about winning the new tag titles. Being new tag champions. And American Alpha came out and we had a surprise return by Rusev, which I'm happy to see Rusev back.
Yeah. Well, it's cool to
see. He looks leaner. He looks leaner than he used to look.
He came out and just wrecked. He just wrecked Alpha Academy, and I was like, is he? I'm guessing he's a heel. They were cheering for him, but I'm like, he was kind of wrecking everybody. Is he a heel?
Well, because when he left, he was a face, so I think that's why the crowd was still popping for him. And of course, it's Rusev. Rusev's an awesome dude, personality wise, cool freaking dude. But so I guess he's going to be a heel in this one. He took out Alpha Academy, and Otis surprisingly with ease hit him with the accolade. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. We had Io Sky come out, do her, good for me, I'm the champ all that good stuff. I'm so happy that Io retained. Yeah, y'all have no idea how happy I am that she retained. I'm happy I was wrong and that it didn't go to Bianca or Rhea Ripley. But then you had wonderful opportunity because Stephanie Vaquer showed up. And those of you who are not familiar with NXT, she is a phenomenal women's wrestler. She is the NXT Women's Champion. She actually held the NXT Women's North American title simultaneously with the Women's Championship as well. She came out and challenged Io Sky. And it was actually a really good match. But of course, you had to see it coming because commentary kept talking about how she has Roxanne Perez for the next night at NXT for the title match and this and that. So of course, naturally, she's like a mini Joe Hendry. You said her name. She showed up and she again caused a DQ with Gia. I think I'm butchering that name. Julia. There we go. Julia. They both came out to beat up on Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, which oddly enough, Rhea Ripley came out to save the day, which was interesting. She didn't go out
attacked everybody. She didn't
go at Stephanie. She just got the heels, ran them off, and that was the end of that. I mean, I don't know what's gonna become of that. Maybe there's gonna be like I don't know. I honestly don't know what that did because there was no talking. There's no backstage interview after. It was just that was it. Rhea Ripley stood tall. She had a real nasty shiner on her eyes because she only had it was obvious because she had like makeup on one side and makeup on she couldn't put makeup on the black eye. But that was interesting. But no, it was interesting to see that. I don't know about your thoughts on her.
I mean, it was a good match. It was a bummer that here's the way we bail out of this is we're gonna have the disqualification ending to disrupt everything.
It was such a good match too,
and it was a really good match, and that's why I was like, this got ruined because you knew like we got to have everybody save face here.
How are you gonna put the NXT Women's Champ over with the WWE Women's Champ? Like,
they weren't gonna do that, but so it was somewhat predictable that they tend to go to the well for that, just having it in a DQ. But the match itself was really, really.
I agree. You had Jey Uso celebration with the World Heavyweight title, accompanied by Sami Zayn coming out to congratulate him. You could tell he was having a hard time to speak because he was holding back tears, very proud. Someone was cutting onions in the arena.
Clearly.
And of course, Jimmy comes out as well. As a beautiful, wonderful celebration. Well-deserved championship win for Jey Uso. I know we weren't too thrilled with how the match finished, but at the same time, the right person won.
Yeah, and that was expected, and congratulations to him. And then you got Gunther choking Michael Cole unconscious, or trying to choke
I was about to say what wasn't expected was Gunther to come back after the commercial break to talk trash to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole.
Chokes out the commentary team, choked out McAfee.
Choked out McAfee. Michael Cole was flustered, came back out on commentary, which I thought was funny because Pat McAfee kind of called this out on his show, and I think he had Triple H on his show, and he was like, "Bro, what the hell?" Because his boys jumped the barricade to go help him, and security was holding them back while Gunther was choking out Pat McAfee.
I was like, "Yes, that's a valid
point." But it is what it is. After that, we had a really good match with Dominic Mysterio and Penta. Dominic defending the Intercontinental Championship for the first title defense. Obviously, we knew. I was thinking obviously he's not going to drop it, but then obviously I was wrong with the women's tag team titles. That was an interesting one. But in this case, Dom retained. He had Finn Balor and Carlito on ringside. Finn Balor showing a little disdain.
As well as
jealousy there. Yeah, so again, little shenanigans. You had JD McDonough return to push Penta off of the ropes because Penta was about to do a big move. And you had the surprise return of JD. That's when you really saw the jealousy in Finn Balor's eyes.
Well, because that's his boy. He trained JD.
So. Yeah, and then you see him, they're all embracing him, and he's just there by himself, like, what's going on? So I'm pretty sure we're going to see Finn Balor leave Judgment Day at some point in time. But the match itself was good. It wasn't, crazy or anything, but it was
really good stuff. I mean, it's sad to see that now we're starting to see Penta lose quite a bit, albeit with shenanigans, but it's already begun.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure now because obviously I know his brother signed, and his brother's going to be joining him soon as a tag team. They have to. They can't. They can't not capitalize on Lucha Brothers.
And put them on Monday Night Raw. There's plenty of great tag teams on SmackDown. Lots of great tag teams on SmackDown.
Yeah, bring Rey Fenix over. Yeah, bring Rey Fenix over. I think that'd be so awesome. But Dom, again, now he's not getting booed as much. I think everyone's happy that he won the IC title. I'm happy he won.
I am too. I think this is a fun change. It's a nice change, and he's put in the work. So Good for
He
him.
really has. And he's improved dramatically in his in-ring abilities. I remember when he first started wrestling, we were like, oh my God. But I think it was just nerves, and he was still learning the ropes.
He's never going to be his dad. Like let's try
people
not
just stop
to
comparing him to
compare.
that. Yeah.
Let's try not to do that because that's not fair to him.
I agree.
And very different ability wise. But hey, he's made everything else work. He's better from a charisma, like fun promo standpoint than his dad
can
was.
get heat like nobody's business.
Like he's better at that side of the business than Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is just a great lucha libre wrestler. Like it's always, he's a great luchador. So yeah, and different styles.
They kept bringing up about the acquisition of AAA. Of course, I know we have Worlds Collide coming up, which is going to be an NXT, AAA, and WWE cross promotion. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm super excited for that, obviously. But I think it's going to be a great pay-per-view. We'll see how, or PLE, we'll see how that goes. But main event time, which really was not main event time. So props to Dom for technically getting the main event. After that, we had Seth Rollins come out with Paul Heyman. Of course, they were matching, in yellow. So they came out to kind of speak about all that good stuff, why he did his change and why he did what he did, and Paul Heyman putting over Seth Rollins. I always say I was happy to see him as a Paul Heyman guy. Of course, you had CM Punk come out to try and put a fight up, and I want to say Roman Reigns came out as well, and then that's when Braun Breaker.
Yeah, Braun Breaker with the hoodie on, throwing the spear.
I mean, you can't hide him. Like, we know Braun Breaker's build. Like, he's wearing a hoodie. I knew right away.
Yeah, there's not like, who's that mystery man that just came flying into the ring and speared Roman?
Like, oh, it's Braun Breaker in a hoodie. What is he doing?
Yeah.
Braun Breaker came out and just, speared the hell out of Roman. And that was revealed, of course, that now he's part of that faction that Paul Heyman's building. I'm hoping it's a faction. I know right now it's just them two, but I think it's got to be.
It's got to be like Team Heyman. Which I am hoping that Survivor Series is new Team Heyman versus old Team Heyman.
Yeah.
And so you'll have CM Punk, Roman Reigns, maybe Brock Lesnar comes back as part of that old group. Like they'll continue to build the new Team Heyman as time goes.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you end up with 5-on-5, and then you're going to have Roman, CM. I'm not sure who else the other two would be on Team Anti-Heyman or old Team Heyman, or who you could shoehorn in there. There's people you can get in there.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see where this goes. But I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I think this will be fun.
I am. I'm really intrigued. I like this duo pairing right here, Braun Breaker. I think we said at one point, you brought it up. I think we said that at one point, one of us said that Braun Breaker should be managed by Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And now we're going to get
happen. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because that's going to be very interesting to see how he progresses now. Because Braun Breaker, he was a heel primarily, and then he was sort of a face, but not really. And so now you have him as a full-on heel with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. I'm really excited for that. So that's going to be great. But that was a quick rundown here of Raw. Obviously, nothing too crazy went down, but again, we had some great moments here, and now we know more or less what's going to happen for Backlash. It's kind of setting the stage for it. It's a quick turnaround, so obviously things are going to be fast and moving quickly. So speaking of fast and moving quickly, we had SmackDown,
which I will say in many ways was kind of a copy paste of Raw in a lot of ways. We opened with John Cena again. Apparently, there's still no brand split because John Cena should be on SmackDown, but he's on Raw and SmackDown. I guess that's because the countdown is for appearances, and so he's got to get all of his appearances in for the end of the year. So he's like, Raw, SmackDown. We can keep running down. I think he's at 29, 28 or something like that.
27
appearances. 27 now. I was like, I think he did the counter. He was like 28 on Monday, but he didn't do the counter on SmackDown. So I'm like, that's 27 now. So they're marching through it. But he immediately got cut off by Orton, and they had the chance to do the promo back and forth here. And basically, they were just kind of jawing at each other about, John Cena should have had kids, was Randy Orton said the problem was. And then John's like, well, I've been raising everybody else's kids for 25 years. Calling the crowd loser. There was a 6-year-old who gave him the finger that 6-year-old's dad and called him a loser. Randy accused John of having brain rot and being in Hollywood. And that Randy was furniture there and Cena was just a guest. And Cena's like, how dare you? So they just did that whole back and forth, which culminated in Randy wanted a title shot right here, right now. And Cena was like, wait 2 weeks for Backlash, and basically made the match and offered it. And then right after that, we got the little chyron that said, this has been confirmed. And the graphics flashed up John Cena versus Randy Orton in 2 weeks at Backlash. It did end with John Cena tried to hit Randy with the title. He hit him with a sucker punch right at the end, tried to hit him with the title. RKO out of nowhere. You got Randy standing tall and holding the title. which means Randy won't win.
Yeah, I'm about to say I don't think Randy, as much as I would love to see Randy Orton win, I don't see it happening. It's too soon.
Yeah,
it's only 2 weeks, and
yeah,
then
he's
what
not
do you
going to
do with
drop it
Cena
that
after
fast.
that? Like, you know what I mean? Then what do you do with Cena after that? But yeah, there were some good punchlines in there, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
there's some good
it was
ones.
a long promo, but it was good.
It was like 30
Everything was
minutes,
good.
but it didn't feel long because,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, two of the best on the mic, like they just breezed through it. I think one of my favorite things was John Cena telling Randy Orton that when I retire, I'm going to have the clock reset and your family's legacy is going to mean nothing.
Yeah.
Or erase your family's legacy. I'm like, damn, that's hard. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, it was a great promo.
It was a really
them.
Great promo, and because they have so much history together, but they're also like, we need to condense this down because we have a match in 2 weeks.
Well, they pretty much gave us the rivalry in like 30 minutes. Like, they just gave us everything, like, to build up the pressure and like, they built it all up already. So I think we're good to go forward because we know them. We know they've had back and forth, and Randy's at 14 title wins. John Cena's at 17. So again, it pretty much just wrote itself. So makes sense.
Yeah. No, it was good. And then after this, we got our first match of the night, which was the debut of Fraxium on SmackDown. Nathan Frazier and Axiom as the tag team. Great team. This would have been my match of the night had we not had that bonkers TLC at the end, which was great. This was really, really great. It was Fraxium versus Los Garza. Los Garza is really, this is why I said SmackDown's got the superior tag team division by a mile when compared to Raw. So if you're going to get the Lucha Bros together, put them over on Raw because Raw needs the help.
Let them go at the New Day. That'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, this one was really, really, really great. It had a great Spanish fly followed by the Phoenix Splash from Nathan Frazier. Mm-hmm. Loved it. Love to see that. But it's just like, it's an embarrassment of riches with the tag, with Motor City Machine Guns and DIY, with the current champions, the Street Profits. A lot of great tag teams. Even Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, Pretty Deadly. I like
Pretty Deadly's solid.
Yeah, Pretty Deadly's good. Yeah, I love it. This match was my runner-up for match of the night. Yeah,
runner-up for match of the night.
When it ended, I was like, this is the match of the night. And then the main event happened, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah, I was like, man, like on any other night, that would have been match of the night. And this is where the wrestling on SmackDown was very good for what it was.
Exactly.
This week, you had the frustrating thing. So Tiffany Stratton came out next to celebrate, and we got surprised Jade Cargill that came out, and they had an impromptu match. It was a good match, but it ended with DQ. Much like on Raw, you had a good match in with a DQ because Naomi interrupted and attacked Jade Cargill. Apparently their feud's not over. And then, surprise, Nia Jax attacked Tiffany and demolished her as well. So we're back to doing the Nia Jax versus Tiffany thing. Looks like kind of like Nia and Naomi are going to be a little bit of a team here or help out. They had like a promo backstage. We'll see where that goes.
All I know
another
is
good match interrupted by a DQ.
Yeah, and it was a good match. And I was gonna say my only gripe about this is, and I love Naomi. I think she's a great person. She's a great wrestler. But we need to work on her a little bit because she was punching air. She was like an air drum soloing it for like a good 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't know, but maybe it was the excitement. I don't know, but it was off by a mile, and the camera's like focused in on you. It's like you're kind of giving away the business here. Like, but at the end of the day, I know they're trying to paint her more as a heel. I'm having a hard time seeing her as that kind of.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it. Yeah,
yeah, and when she kind of like barked back at Nia backstage, that was kind of awkward and weird. But I mean, who knows?
Rude, and that was
Yeah. Nia Jackson's so good in that aspect where she's just like, I like that. But yeah, that's my only gripe of it. I mean, I know we had to do it in no contest. That's fine. But I mean, that's clearly we're going to see Jade and Tiffany. I mean, not Jade. I'm sorry. We're going to see Nia Jackson, Tiffany Stratton in Backlash. That's going to be my guess. We're probably going to have Jade Cargill and Naomi again.
Naomi at Backlash.
Like a no DQ match or something like that. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And then after this, we had Jacob Fatu coming out with Solo. Solo taking all the credit for all of Jacob's success.
He was.
And you had I love the camera angle where you had it on Solo, and then you could see Jacob like giving them the side eye stare the whole time. So they set that shot up really, really well. And so you could see he was not happy with what was being said. Mm-hmm. And then he got the microphone and said, "Hey, don't get it twisted." He said he was going to do this, and he did it.
With or without him.
With or without him, he was going to do it. So this was really great stuff. Interrupted by LA Knight, who wanted his rematch. Interrupted by surprise Drew McIntyre because he needs something to do since he attacked Damian Priest, and that got made for later. Number one contenders match for the U.S. Championship was made for later on in the evening. LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre. Before that, we got the Women's U.S. Championship. Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green. And surprise, Zelina Vega is your new U.S. Women's U.S. champion, which I was a little surprised that they went ahead and changed titles. This was again kind of like on Raw. We had the surprise, we changed the tag titles. Here we had surprise, we changed the women's U.S. championship. Secret Hervis got thrown from ringside for too much interference, and Zelina Vega took advantage with the code red. So she is your new champion. Did come a little bit out of left field for me.
It did. I wasn't expecting the win, especially because as much as they talked up how she won the last two matches, and I was like, oh yeah. She's totally gonna lose. But it was a nice surprise. It's well earned. Zelina Vega's been putting in the work for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, good for her. I'm happy for her. My question is, how long of a title reign do we think they're gonna give her? I don't know.
It's gonna be an LA Knight 43 days, or do they rematch a Backlash and it's like a 15-day title?
Like, yeah, that's my wondering, because I mean, Chelsea built up her little faction with the Secret Hervis and her. Like, I don't know if they're gonna like just give it up that easily, but who knows? I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean,
maybe it'll be a women's six woman tag match for Backlash to kind of start building on the feud. I don't know. We'll see.
Could be. And then after this, we got The Miz out complaining because he didn't get to be Rey Mysterio's replacement at WrestleMania. He didn't get to be Kevin Owens' replacement at WrestleMania. He's being overlooked, blah, 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 the usual stuff. And then Aleister Black, surprise return, which we got both AEW guys split out on Raw and SmackDown in their surprise returns, which again was more copy-paste for me. Aleister Black just kind of kicked him in the tummy and it knocked The Miz unconscious.
Well, he hit the Black Mass.
I know he hit it, but I was just like, but it kind of looked like the way it like happened, and he's like laid out on his back. I was like,
oh yeah,
it didn't look like it should have knocked him out. I mean, unless like people get knocked out from like getting hit in the midsection all the time, but not like that. Like he'd be doubled over. So I was just like, that just looked kind of odd. And then he was just played out, and then the segment over. But it's nice to have Aleister Black.
I'm happy that they took away that creaking sound when his coffin rises up. Thank God, because that was so stupid. So I'm glad we have the original Aleister Black music and entrance. They actually changed it because they used to do it from the side of the entranceway. Now they're doing it from the actual entranceway, which I think looks a lot better.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
I'm a huge fan of that. I love it. I'm happy to see Aleister back because I think he does bring like another kind of force for like, you know, I don't know if they'll put him in the main title picture, but I could see him vying for like the IC title. I can see him vying for US title. Like I see all that. So I love it.
Yeah, and he's really great. It's nice to have him back. After this, we got that LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre number one contender match for the U.S. title. It was a solid match that was ruined by another disqualification, which became like the method with Damian Priest, who apparently was not that incapacitated from the street fight.
Yeah,
attacked Drew. And then Jacob came out and attacked LA Knight and just train wrecked everybody, hitting multiple moonsaults. And it was just a repeat of what we saw earlier and also on Monday Night Raw. So can you say triple threat match for the number one contendership with Damian
Fatal
Priest?
Fatal
four-way, maybe for the title at Backlash? Could be. Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah.
I think that's where we might be going. But
if they do, I still want Jacob to retain.
Totally. Yeah. Don't take the title off him that early. And he's still like, I think it makes an excuse of, it was a fatal four-way. Jacob doesn't have to be pinned. Still don't do it. Let him have a nice lengthy title run. Let's try to create some consistency here. But looking forward to that. I feel like with the amount of time that they have, it's 15 days. They probably will just do like a fatal four-way or something.
Yeah.
And then the main event was TLC match for the tag titles. Street Profits versus DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns. This one was wild from the get-go, and I've got to give a round of applause to WWE for doing a commercial-free match for this at the end, which was the best possible thing they could have done. You didn't get interruptions in the action. It was all fast and furious. Ridiculous spots. Too many ridiculous spots to recap and count. But I will say, Dawkins spearing Ciampa from the ladder. It was a la Edge on Jeff Hardy, except he speared him off of the ladder while he was hanging from the titles through a table, because you got to add a little one-upsmanship to it
just
as well.
A little bit.
Was bonkers. Absolutely crazy. The whole thing was just wild, to which I say it was a PLE pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. Quality match that was absolutely great. And it with the Street Profits retaining, which was nice to see, but they didn't take the titles off them that quickly. So
few close calls.
But it was really, really great stuff. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is my match of the year candidate so far. I know we're only like a quarter of the year through, but this was really, really, really good stuff. And a great way to close out SmackDown, which definitely had the superior wrestling matches on it this week.
I agree. I completely agree. And I do want to give a nod to the Street Profits busting out with the Shawn Michaels inspired ring gear.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. That looked really great. But yeah, you had all three teams looking phenomenal. I like the what do they call it? They hit the skull and bones over the rope, like a slingshot skull and bones over the rope through a table. That was actually really, really cool to see. The only gripe I do have one gripe. Why in the hell did Tommaso Ciampa shave?
Remember, didn't he like injure his? I thought he got like cut his chin or something, and so
he
had to. Yeah, this was like a couple of weeks ago. So a couple of weeks ago, he like hit his face and had to get stitches, and so they shaved his face. So he looks weird, and like they haven't even updated. They haven't updated his picture on like when they do the ring announcements. So he's still got the beard there, but medically he had to shave it to get stitches. That's
okay. That's the only excuse that I'll accept. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
He looks strange.
You know what he kind of reminded me of? Like he looked like you remember Eric Young? He looked like Eric Young's brother.
Okay, I can see that.
They kind of have some similarities, their facial similarities a little bit when he shaved. But
because I haven't seen him clean shaven since like remember he played the lawyer like years and years and years ago for one of the segments, and he had the long hair and he was clean shaven. I was like, I think it's the last time I remember seeing him without a beard.
I think so.
So which he looks completely different. Like if you see him,
which I could see through the stubble, he's already growing it back.
Yeah, he's already working on it. Like I think he kind of recognizes he needs his beard back too. So he's working.
But honestly, though, not to take away from the match, that was a great match. I was in awe. It was great that it was only no commercial breaks. I thought that was great. A good 30-minute match. It ran, did everything. They hit all the spots.
It didn't feel like it was a half-hour match.
It really didn't. Awesome. But it was. I loved it. This was my match of the night, hands down. And so many great spots, so many great moments. The super kick to the way that Gargano set up the super kick on Tez. He like had him through the ladder and had him just kind of hanging there and just hit him right at the nasty super kick towards the end. Tez jumping off the ropes to get onto the ladder. Like everything about it was just
solid stuff. And that was SmackDown and that was Raw this week, everybody. So Fast and Furious coming off of WrestleMania, and then Fast and Furious heading into Backlash. So we'll see how this happens. Backlash always feels like a speed bump because last year you got the Cody Rhodes AJ Styles rivalry heading into Backlash that just kind of happened out of nowhere, and then it resolved itself pretty quickly. Might be seeing something similar with Orton and with John Cena, but we'll find out in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's what we got this week on the recap. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments, all that good stuff. You know, we love to talk about wrestling, and we don't mind if you're mean about it. Just don't be too mean. You know, we do have feelings sometimes. Or being mean as mean as you like. Big D likes it when you're mean to him, so it works out well.
I do.
And that's what we got. So I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you soon.